Good morning, all of you. In the previous class, we completed about galvanometer and working principle of the galvanometer and conversion of galvanometer into ammeter and voltmeter, right? And so now in today's class, let us see this magnetic effect of current, or we sometimes, that means in some books it will be mentioned as like source of magnetic field. So what is the actual source of this magnetic field? So we will discuss in those topics there in this topic here, like Biot-Savart's law and Ampere's law. And actually, basically, I think all of you know that how this relation between magnetic field and electric field was discovered. So basically, in the olden days, it was a thought that electric field is, that means electrostatics is completely different branch of physics, and this magnetism is a completely different branch. There is no any correlation between those two branches there. So later, after this Oersted experiment, so Oersted did an experiment based on this, and actually he's accidentally observed some deflection in the current carrying coil. That means deflection in the compass placed near a current carrying coil. Then he noticed the deflection first, and he thought that there will be some relation between current and this magnetic field there. That means accidentally he placed some compass near a current carrying coil. When current is switched on in that circuit, he observed some deflection in this. Like suppose simple circuit, if you are taking here, if you are taking a simple circuit here, suppose say some current is flowing along this direction here. So current is flowing along this direction here. Then he places some compass nearby it. Then this needle in this compass will show some deflection here. Then he noticed the deflection there. Then he thought some relation will be there. Then what he did was just he reversed the direction of current in the circuit. That means he reversed the polarities of the cell, and again he observed that. Then he observed the deflection opposite direction. Then he changed that current. That means he changed the magnitude of the current. If your magnitude of the current is increased, then more deflection he found. And so then he concluded that there is some correlation between electric current, that means current carrying conductor, and this magnetic field here. And so that is nothing but he finally concluded that after doing a lot of experiments, these current carrying conductors are producing the magnetic fields. And because of that magnetic field, this needle present in this compass is showing some deflection here. So that was the first experiment to identify the relation between electricity, electrostatics or magnetism there. So then that means so current carrying conductor will produce a magnetic field. That was first observed by the Oersted. So this is simply we call the Oersted experiment, right? And later to define the direction of the magnetic field, how the magnetic field is produced and how much magnetic field is produced, some different laws are there. So like Maxwell's principle is there to find the direction of this magnetic field, and Ampere's rules are there. Or we can use the cross product rules also to find the direction of the magnetic field. So out of them we prefer this Ampere's rule, which is a simple law there. Just if you are taking that, if you are assuming that current carrying conductor is held in our hand, right hand, such that thumb indicates the direction of the current, then curl of these fingers will represent the direction of the magnetic field. So then the tangent drawn to that line's magnetic field lines at any point will give the direction of the magnetic field at that point, right? That is the Ampere's law for the straight conductors there. And we will discuss these directions now. Just that is the experiment. That means later, like Biot-Savart's law, they together will propose one formula to find the magnetic field produced by a current carrying element. And later that Ampere proposed another law which we call Ampere's law. So those are the laws to define the magnitude of the magnetic field there, right? So that basic experiment was done by this Oersted, and he discovered that relation is there between electric field and magnetic field. And now here let us see this. First of all, the magnetic field produced by a moving charged particle. And after that we can go for a current carrying conductor. So first let us see this magnetic field, and you can conclude that here after this current carrying conductor, basically it was discovered that experimentally when a charged particle is moving with respect to an observer here, when a charged particle is at rest here initially, if with respect to an observer in the inertial frame, if this particle is at rest, then in this case only it produces the electric field. Magnetic field is zero. It doesn't produce a magnetic field. If it is moving with this uniform velocity here, when this charged particle is moving with the constant velocity with respect to this, it produces electric field as well as magnetic field also. It produces some non-zero magnetic field also. And whereas if the particle is having some acceleration here, if the charged particle is having some acceleration, so if the charged particle is having some accelerating charged particle, if you consider with respect to an inertial frame, then electric field it will produce and magnetic field it will produce and also radiates energy. And also radiates energy. So that is a general principle of our electromagnetic waves there. So first to mention that, but first you may add that sentence like Oersted discovered that current carrying conductors produces magnetic field. Current carrying conductors produces magnetic field. And then he proposed that electricity and magnetism are not two different branches, and they are same. That means they are together can be named as electromagnetism. Next, mention these points here. A charged particle at rest produces with respect to an inertial frame produces only electric field. But a charged particle moving with respect to inertial frame, produces electric field as well as magnetic field. And next, an accelerating charged particle produces electric field, magnetic field, and also it radiates the energy. Just to draw this three cases there so that you can understand them easily. Now I am going to write the magnetic field due to this moving charge. How much magnetic field is produced by this moving charge we are going to discuss now. So before going to that, let us find the direction of this magnetic field here so that you will get clarity for this charged particle and as well as for the current carrying conductor. Let us write first expression and after that we can discuss that, because by using cross product rule also we can discuss that there. Magnetic field due to a moving charge. So we are going to discuss about magnetic field due to a moving charge. And let us consider this: a charged particle is moving here with some velocity v. A charged particle q is moving along this straight line here with a constant velocity v. And so now here it will produce some magnetic field around that, and those magnetic field lines are concentric circles there, with that. So those lines will have these centers on that line here, the direction along which it will the particle is moving. So that means you can assume that the charged particle will produce a magnetic field lines like that. Those are closed lines and those circular lines, and they will be coaxial circle lines here. That means all those circles will be centers will be lying on the same line here. So now our aim is to find the magnetic field here at a distance of r from this. So at a distance of r from this, and which makes an angle theta with the direction of this field here, with the direction of this velocity here. Theta it is making with the direction of velocity is making some angle theta. So at this point we need to find this magnetic field here. Suppose this point is P. And to find the direction of this magnetic field, as I said, we need to apply this right hand rule here. So after deriving this magnitude, I will explain about this direction there, direction of this magnetic field. And so that means now according to this, will be some field lines will be there here around this charge. There will be some field lines will be there around this charge here, perpendicular to this. That means this point line of velocity will be then axis there, along that axis then concentric circles will be there around that, right? That is the magnetic field directions there. And so now here the magnitude of this magnetic field is given by, so experimentally it was found that it is directly proportional to the charge, magnitude of the charge, and is directly proportional to the velocity, and is directly proportional to the sine of angle between V bar and this R bar, and is inversely proportional to this R square here. So these are the factors affecting the magnetic field produced by a point charge at that point. And so then finally we can conclude that it is directly proportional to QV sine theta by R square. And so then we can write this as that proportionality constant. We will introduce this as mu naught by 4 pi here, which is a proportionality constant in magnetism. So QV sine theta by R square we can write. So this is the magnitude of this magnetic field produced by a charged particle at the given positions, at the given point, right? And now suppose if you want to express this in vector form, we can express this in vector form so that you will get the both magnitude and direction at the by using a same expression there. Therefore in vector form you can write this as, in vector form, B bar is equal to, and here about this mu naught, mention that constant there. First mention about mu naught, and after that I will discuss in vector form here, where mu naught is permeability of free space, and its value is mu naught value is 4 pi into 10 power minus 7 Henry per meter. That H means Henry per meter. That is a unit. Different units you can express there. Generally in SI units we express like this. This is a mu naught value here, 4 pi into 10 power minus 7 Henry per meter. And so that is about this permeability here. Now its constant is similar to that of our 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. In electrostatics we use the proportionality constant as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Now in magnetism we will use this constant here. You will get this constant mu naught by 4 pi. So then that means this mu naught by 4 pi value, finally you can write this as 10 power minus 7 here, right? And so now in vector form we can express this equation as is equal to mu naught by 4 pi into Q into V bar cross R bar by this R cube, you can write here, or you can also express this as B bar is equal to mu naught by 4 pi into Q into V bar cross R cap by R cube, R square. So observe the difference between them there. So in numerator, if you are expressing this as V bar cross R bar, then R cube you will get. If you are writing it as R cap, then you will get only R square there, right? Just you can find the magnitude of this, you will get the clarity. Our magnitude must be given by this equation here. So just if you are finding the magnitude of this, then V bar cross R bar magnitude is nothing but V into R into sine theta you will get. So then that is nothing but our 1 R and this R square will be, that means R cube and R will be cancelled, so we will get R cube here. If you are taking that as unit vector, then its magnitude will be 1. So that is the magnitude of this vector will be V into sine theta you will get. So that means QV sine theta by R square you will get. So you need to observe that when you are writing in vector form, whether you need to write here R cube or R square means that depends on this, whether you are taking in numerator as R and R cap, right? So it is in vector form here. So now write some important points regarding this here. So first mention about this direction of this magnetic field here. So about this direction of B bar. So in the first point I mentioned about this cross product there, and after that we will discuss about Ampere's law. So mention that. That means now we can use just a cross product here. B bar is perpendicular to the plane containing V bar and R bar, and we can find by using this V bar cross R bar, by using that rule we can find there, right? So just by using like V bar, and this is R bar here, so V bar cross R bar out of the plane, now we can say that. So mention that. So from the above equation, it is clear that the direction of B bar is perpendicular to the plane containing V bar and R bar. Perpendicular to the plane containing V bar and R bar. And its direction can be obtained by using cross product rule. Right? And instead of this cross product rule, we can also use the Ampere's right hand thumb rule. So mention that point also. Ampere's. We can also find direction of B bar. By using Ampere's right hand thumb rule. It states that if we assume a straight current carrying conductor is held in our right hand such that direction of thumb indicates direction of the current, then curl of four fingers indicates direction of the magnetic field. Right? So that indicates the direction of magnetic field there. The tangent onto the line of force will give the direction of field at that particular point here. So then let us write some points regarding this here, some important points regarding these expressions here. So now here one of the point what we can write is if theta is equal to 0 or 180 degrees, if I am choosing there, theta is equal to 0 or 180 means at any point on this line here, whether either back side of this point or in front of this charge, if you are taking such a point, then magnetic field is 0. It doesn't produce any magnetic field there. So write that point there. If theta is equal to 0 or 180, that is at any point along the direction of velocity of the particle, at any point along the direction of velocity of the particle, the field produced by the particle is 0. That means it does not produce any field there. So at any point on this line here, right? That is one of the important point. And next, for a given distance r, the magnetic field will be maximum. When we choose the point perpendicular to the direction of velocity. when we choose the point perpendicular to the direction of velocity. So therefore this B maximum is equal to mu naught by 4 pi into QV by R square you will get. That means that theta value will be 90 degrees you will get there for a given distance. For a given distance R, then that will be the situation there. And next point. For a given distance R, perpendicular to the direction of velocity, the magnitude of magnetic field is constant, which indicates the magnetic field lines produced by the charged particle or concentric circles. That means now here if the charged particle is here, what I am saying is at any distance, that means at any point on this circle, if you draw a circle here with this center on this axis on the direction of velocity, then at any point on the circle the magnitude will be same here, so that the magnetic field lines will be along the direction. And next if we come to the direction at this point, at the point P, as I said, you can use either cross product rule, V bar cross R bar out of the plane here. So here the magnetic field produced at this point in this case will be out of the plane, or you can use our right hand thumb rule. So in right hand thumb rule, for the charged particles, this thumb should indicate the direction of motion of positive charges, because the positive charge direction is nothing but only our direction of the current here. In case of negative charge is given, then thumb should be placed opposite to the direction of motion of the negative charged particle here. For this negatively charged particles, right? If suppose electron is moving along this direction, then we should assume like this. The thumb should be placed opposite to the direction of velocity. So you should keep in mind here, for the negative charged particles, the thumb should be placed opposite to the direction of motion. For positive charged particles, thumb should be placed in the direction of this velocity here. So these are some important points regarding this. So this one is also important here. For theta is equal to 0 or 180. That means for any point on this line here, there is no magnetic field. Magnetic field produced by this charged particle will be 0. It will produce away from this axis only. The particle will produce the magnetic field away from this axis. That means there is no field on the axis of motion, right? And so based on this, we will derive some force between the two charged particles expression here. So let us see that force between the two charged particles. So still we are not started this current carrying conductor here. That means after this completion of this force, I will start that current carrying conductor, the field produced by the current carrying conductor. And so now here force between two moving charges parallel to each other. So let us consider that two charges are moving parallel to each other here, and we need to derive an expression for this magnetic force. So that means this one particle is moving like this with the velocity v1, and suppose say that it is having some charge q1 here, and here I am taking this here, another charge q2 is there here, it is moving with velocity v2. So at some instant they are at this positions here, at some instant of time, and let's suppose r is the separation between those two charges there, right? So now we need to calculate this magnetic force between them and as well as electric force between them, and we need to compare that ratio also there. Then generally they will ask about this ratio there, right? So just to mention that, consider two point charges q1 and q2. 2 point charges q1 and q2 are moving parallel to each other with velocities v1 and v2 at separation r, as shown in the figure, with velocities v1 and v2 parallel to each other at separation r. At some instant, let us consider the position of the particles at the given instant. Let us consider the position of the particles. Let us consider the position of the particles at the instant shown in figure. At the instant shown in figure. That means after some time, if they are traveling, for example, with a different speed, they may be, one may be ahead of the other there when compared to the other. So we are assuming that they are side by side at some instant. So at that instant we are calculating, or we may assume that both are moving with the same velocity. You may assume that. Finally, we will consider that assumption also there. So right. So now here the thing is, first if I ask, is there any magnetic force between them, because those two are charged particles, so directly you can decide that electrostatic repulsive force will be there. Let us take both of them are like charges, so electrostatic repulsive force will be there. You can write the electrostatic repulsive force expression, right? So now my question is there any magnetic force between them? Is there any magnetic force between those two charges? So now we completed like two concepts in after completion of current velocity. One concept is like whenever current carrying, that means whenever a charged particle is moving through the magnetic field, then it will experience some force, right? And so now just now in this topic we discussed that a moving charged particle also produces a magnetic field, right? So now keep in those two concepts in mind. One concept is whenever a charged particle is moving through the magnetic field, it will experience some magnetic force. And just now we completed a concept like whenever a charged particle is moving, it will produce some magnetic field. So now let us consider this. This particle is moving here, right? So now it should produce some magnetic field. Now in the surroundings of this, charge, it will produce some magnetic field. So now in that magnetic field, this Q2 is moving, right? So there may be a chance of magnetic field acting on this particle here. So because we know whenever a charged particle is moving through the magnetic field, in all cases you can't conclude that force acting on the particle. When theta is equal to 0, no magnetic force acts, right? So here there may be a chance of magnetic force may act on this particle here. So now we need to check that. Similarly, the converse is also true. That means that vice versa here. That means this particle is traveling, so it will produces the magnetic field, and in that magnetic field now this particle is also traveling, so it may also experience that force here, right? And so now let us say this. So now let us identify the direction of magnetic fields I am writing here first of all, right? So first you may write this. First we are going to calculate the magnetic force here. After that directly you can write the electric force there. So the magnetic field produced by the first charge I am writing here. As I said in the previous discussion, you need to apply this right hand thumb rule. So the thumb indicates the direction of motion of the positive charge. Then this curl of fingers will indicate the direction of this field lines here. So then at any point the tangent drawn to this field lines will indicate the direction of the magnetic field. So that means here the field lines will be there like this. Here this side we need the magnetic field at this location here, because Q2 is there at that instant at that position. So now we can observe that field lines are into the plane. They are entering into the plane. That means they are coming like this. This side they will come out here, and this side they will enter here, right? So that means here the magnetic field lines are entering into this plane here. So that here I am writing the direction of this B1. So B1 is into the plane. Is it clear? If you are assuming the charge is flowing like this, the field lines are there circulating like this. The curl of four fingers. Curl of four fingers indicates direction of magnetic field. Or you can apply like R bar cross V bar, V bar cross R bar formula also. V bar and R bar, V bar cross R bar, that will be into the plane there, right? So that will be magnetic field. That means I am writing here magnetic field due to Q1 at Q2. So that is B1. Our formula just we need to apply here, mu naught by 4 pi into like Q1 V1 sin 90 by R1 R square. QV sin theta we need to apply here. This angle will be 90 degrees here. So we are taking the situation like this, right? Therefore this B1 is equal to mu naught by 4 pi into Q1 V1 by R square, and this magnetic field is into the plane. Now let us write similarly here the magnetic field produced by Q2 at Q1. Now for this also first identify the direction here. The thumb indicates the direction of flow of the positive charges, then curl of fingers here. Now we can observe that this side of the charge they are entering here, and the left side of the charge the field lines are coming out here. So that means the field lines are there like this. This side they are entering and this side they are coming out here. And so that means here this side we can say that this magnetic field B2 will be out of the plane, I can mention here. Is it clear? The field lines here, if you are taking the current carrying conductor of the charge like this, moving like this, field lines are circulating like this. This side they are entering the plane and this side they are coming out of the plane here. So here the magnetic field is out of the plane, now we can see. So therefore this what we can write is magnetic field due to Q2 at Q1 at that location. So therefore this value we can write it as B2 is equal to mu naught by 4 pi into Q2 V2 by R square, right? The same angle will be 90 degrees here also, so that I am not taking that sine 90 as 1, I am directly taking that, right? So now in this magnetic field the other particle is moving. Suppose if you are taking this magnetic field, then Q2 is moving. So let us write the magnetic force acting on that Q2, let us write now. So I am writing this as magnetic force acting on Q2 due to Q1. So for this which formula we need to write? Magnetic force acting on Q2 due to Q1. So our formula is BVQ sin theta formula now we need to use, because whenever a charged particle is moving through the magnetic field, our force formula is BVQ sin theta. So this force I am taking like force acting on 2 due to 1, F21 I am taking there, right? Force acting on 2 due to 1. So then this force what we can write is B1 into Q2 into V2 into sin 90. BVQ sin theta we need to write. Our formula for this is BVQ sin theta. Here theta means the angle between B bar and V bar, right? So here you can observe that B bar is into the plane and V bar is lying in the plane. So B bar is here into the plane, velocity is lying in the plane like this. So the angle between them is 90 degrees. So then you can write this expression as F21 is equal to, and you can mention this direction also. I will explain the direction here. Let us write the magnitude first. So this is B1 here. I am substituting this value here. Mu naught by 4 pi into Q1 Q2 into V1 V2 by R square we can write. So just I am substituting this B1 value here. So then B1 value, already this Q2 into V2 term is there. So we can write like this. So now similarly let us write the reverse expressions there. That means force acting on Q1 due to Q2. So therefore this is magnetic force acting on Q1 due to Q2. So then this you can write this as F12 is equal to, similarly our BVQ sin theta formula we need to write. So then B2 into Q1 into V1 sin 90. That means force acting on this particle we are writing here. It is magnetic field there is B2 and it is moving with velocity V1 and the charge on that particle is Q1. So B2 Q1 V1 sin 90 we need to write. And so again you can substitute these values here. Therefore this F12 is equal to, what we can write is mu naught by 4 pi into Q1 Q2 into V1 V2 by R square, right? So now we can observe this here, both are same here. So from that what we can say is whatever the force acting on this charge here, same amount of force is acting on Q2 also. So like action and reaction there. Now let us identify the directions there. So to find the direction of this force here, magnetic force, how to find the direction of magnetic force acting on a moving charges, which principle we need to use? Either cross product rule we can use, or otherwise we can use left hand rule, Fleming's left hand rule, right? So you should not forget all this. So the topics which we are discussing from the beginning of this electromagnetism, or that means from the beginning of this moving charges, all those are interrelated. So one principle we need to use in the next topic there. So like that they are interrelated. So there we need to use the Fleming's left hand rule, right? So here the Fleming's left hand rule means field is into the plane. The particle is positive charge, the particle is moving up here. So the force acting on this will be towards this left. So the force acting on this particle will be along this direction. So this is the direction of F21, right? And now similarly, let us identify the force acting on this Q1 here. So now the field is out of the plane, B2 value, velocity is upwards. Now this force is towards this right. And so now the force acting on this particle will be, we can say that this will be F12. So they are action and reaction, and we can also say that they are attracting each other. That force is nothing but we call that attractive force. So when the like charges are moving in the same direction, then you can conclude that the force between the magnetic force between them is attractive force, right? Therefore from this what I am writing is, now instead of writing this F12 or F21, I am generalizing this. The magnetic force between two charges we can write as, so therefore the magnetic force between two charges moving parallel to each other is, so therefore just I am writing it as now F magnetic. It is not either F12 or F21. F magnetic is equal to, what we can write is mu naught by 4 pi into Q1 Q2 into V1 V2 by R square, right? So that will be the magnetic force expression here. So now we may mention about this direction here. That means whether it is attractive force or repulsive force they will ask. So we may mention that about the direction. So mention that, like if both the charges are positive charges and if they are moving in the same direction, then attractive force you will get. If one of the charge is moving in opposite direction, then you will get the repulsive force. You may check the directions there. First find the magnetic field and then identify that force directions there. So mention that this force between the two moving charges parallel to each other. This is important here. In this case only we are defining these directions, not in any other directions, not perpendicular or any other directions. The magnetic force between two charges moving parallel to each other will be attractive force if two charges or like charges and are moving in the same direction like this. But if the two like charges are moving in opposite direction, then force between them will be repulsive. Then magnetic force between them will be repulsive. So let us see this. If they are moving in opposite direction there, I will explain the directions of this force here. This is say V1 and this is the Q1 what we are taking here, and let it be Q2 and a V2. And so now in this case, let us identify the magnetic field directions here. The magnetic field produced by this first charge will be at that location, it will be into the plane. The lines of force are entering here. So that like B1 is into the plane. Now the charged particle is moving downwards here. So here the field lines will be there like this. So now field lines due to this also this side they are entering here. So that means B2 is also into the plane. Now let us write the direction. Let us identify the direction of the magnetic force. So now here for this again left hand rule we need to use here. Field is into the plane. The particle is moving down here, moving down like this. Then force direction is along this direction. And so the magnetic force acting on this will be along this direction here. And next similarly, let us apply the same Fleming's left hand rule for this. So field is into the plane, particle is moving upwards here, then force direction will be there like this. So then here the magnetic force will be there along this direction here. Now we can observe that force is nothing but we call the repulsive force there, right? So that what that is nothing but what I mentioned there. If the charges are like charges, if they are moving in same direction, then it will be attractive. If they are moving in opposite direction, then it will be repulsive. If you are taking the two charges or unlike charges, like one is positive and other is negative, then you need to reverse these concepts here. That means you need to reverse these directions there. If they are moving in same direction, repulsive you will get. If they are moving in opposite direction, attractive will get. So draw this diagram for that also, and just add that point also there. If the charges are unlike charges, then magnetic force between them will be a repulsive if they are moving in same direction, and it is attractive if they are moving in opposite direction, right? And so now here sometimes they will ask a question about the magnetic force and electric force ratio, they will ask here. So let us consider that case here. So let us come back to our first original case what we considered there. So like here this is V1 and V2 and V1 and V2 we consider like the same magnitude I am taking here. So this is our Q1 and Q2 separated by certain distance R. So the magnetic force between them will be there here. So magnetic force will be attractive force here, right? So therefore I am writing this F magnetic, or let us write this full form here, magnetic force. Just mention it as a point here. We are going to find the ratio. We are going to compare the electric field and magnetic field ratio, magnetic force ratio. So magnetic force is equal to F magnetic is equal to what we can write is mu naught by 4 pi into this Q also. Let us take they are same here. I am assuming like both are like charges. They are moving parallel to each other. Let us consider, or we may consider different also, that Q terms will be gets cancelled. There is no problem with that. You may consider this different also, because in electric field force also will write there Q1 and Q2 into V square by R square, right? That is our electric force, magnetic force. Now this electrostatic force. So that electrostatic force will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. So this is the what I said here. So now if suppose now these two forces are acting here, magnetic force is acting as well as electric force is also acting. Now we can observe that if the situation if you are taking like this, as we said, the magnetic force between them is an attractive force, but electric force is a repulsive force here. The magnetic force acting on the charges will be there like this. It is an attractive force here, but the electrostatic force will be a repulsive force here. So now we need to conclude that whether the net force is repulsive or attractive, we need to conclude that. So now for that we are going to take the ratio of these two. So let us take the ratio of these two here. Now I am taking this Fe by the ratio of electric force to magnetic force I am taking here, right? And so now this expression you can write this as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square by, and now let us substitute this expression here, mu naught by 4 pi into Q1 Q2 by R square into V square, right? And so you can simplify this equation here. So Fe by Fm is equal to, what you can write is 1 by mu naught into epsilon naught, and this is into V square you will get, into this 1 by V square you can write, that Q1 Q2 by R square term will be cancelled. And there is an importance for this 1 by mu naught into epsilon naught here. Mu naught is permeability and epsilon naught is permittivity, we know already. Now there is some importance for that product there, product of those two. So that importance is nothing but you will get in electromagnetic waves, or when we are discussing these light waves there. So that means an optics topic. So then that ratio is nothing but that means that relation is the speed of light can be written as, so the speed of light, so C is equal to, we can express this value as under root of C is equal to 1 by under root of mu naught into epsilon naught. You may check either dimensionally or you may check by substituting the numericals also. You will get this 1 by mu naught into epsilon naught means that is nothing but speed of light, because we know the mu naught value and epsilon naught value, those are constant values. You may substitute that constants and you may check, or you may verify the dimensionally also. You will get the meter per second, the dimension, that means unit. And so now that is nothing but that value here. Therefore what we can write is and from this what we can write is 1 by mu naught into epsilon naught means we can write this value as C square. Therefore this is the ratio of electric force to magnetic force is equal to C square by V square, we can write here, right? So that means this 1 by mu naught into epsilon naught is, as I said, it is a C square value. So then and by V square. So this is the ratio here, or you can express this simply as C by V whole square. So now from this we can conclude that, and you need to remember this ratio also here. Sometimes they will ask directly about that ratio of those two forces. And we know that as C is very much greater than that of that V value, so that F is very much greater than that of V value, that means this Fm value here. Therefore, as C is greater than V, therefore Fe by Fm is equal to C by V whole square is greater than 1, and therefore this electric force is greater than this magnetic force, you can write here. So that means whether velocity is comparable or not, that depends on the given case, and that means sometimes the particles, the charged particles small like electrons, they may travel with the speed of 10 power 5 or 10 power 6 also. So then in that case you can't say very much less here. So in general we can conclude like this. And so what we are concluding here is, even though magnetic force is acting between those two charges, the deciding factor is the electric force. That means whether that attractive force is acting between them or repulsive force is acting between them, that is nothing but decided by the electric force only. So if electric force is repulsive force, you can conclude that the net force between them is a repulsive one. If electric force is attractive force, whatever may be the magnetic force, it may be attractive or repulsive, you can conclude that that net force is also repulsive force there. So mention that, therefore the resultant force between two moving charges, depends on the nature of the electric force between those two charges. If electric force is attractive force, then net force between them will be attractive. If electric force is attractive, then net force between them is attractive. If electric force is repulsive, then net force between them will be repulsive. Right? So that is this force between the two moving charges parallel to each other there, right? So this expression is important only, and at the same time force between two charges, magnetic force we derived one expression, that is also important only, and in this sometimes they will ask about this directly, this ratio here, right? So that is the force between two moving charges there. And next we will discuss about the Biot-Savart law in our next class, right? Thank you.